Yo, so I just wanted to talk about a topic that is pretty fucking important in trading, but not too many people talk about. Although I'm sure many people have written books on about it. It's not like something I fucking created, but it's something that has been imperative throughout like my journey as like a trader. And I'm not by any means like some elite level fucking trader who has 50 years in the fucking markets. You know what I mean? Like I do alright for myself. And I would say this principle or this I guess perspective of things is what like significantly fucking helped me improve a lot, right? And it's just a simple cause chain event, right? And all it is that something occurs, right, which causes something else, which causes another event, which causes another event, right? And this like subtle thing here might become like a bigger thing here, a much bigger thing here, right? For example, let's say you take a trade here, right? We can just go through a simple example of tilt, right? Maybe you log in, right? You haven't planned shit. You just fucking wake up here and you're like, oh, this went down a lot. You just like, all right, it's gonna go back up. So you just long this, right? Maybe you long it like here, target here, you get stopped out, right? You're like, oh, what the fuck, dude? I'm stopped out, right? Let's just assume this is a 1 minute fucking. Okay, I can actually go on the 1 minute to make sense. Let's say you're here, right? And you just log in. Market went down. You're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna long it here. It looks good. Maybe you like spot a trend line. You're like, this is a trend line break. Yeah, cool. You draw a line. Here's your thing, and you're stopped. Now you're like, what the fuck is this? And then you see, oh, the market's going down. I'm gonna short. Then you get stopped. And now you're like, okay, I've taken two stops, right? A minus 2R or a minus 2% maybe. You know what? This looks really fucking strong here. I'm going to risk 2R on this with a stop like here. And this looks really fucking good. I'm just going to target up here. If I risk 2R on this, I'll make 4R. So I'll be up the day. Then boom, you're minus 4R. And at this point, you lost all fucking. You're just slamming the most random trades you're shorting here. Right at this point, and your trades look like this, right? You have the tightest stops, and you're just longing shit randomly. You don't even know what you're doing. It's like you've lost sense of what you're doing. You're flip flopping. Maybe you started off on the 5 minute. You now ended up on the 15 second, right? And each of these like small swings, like, this is a long here, and then it goes down. And you're like, oh, I'm shorting this now. I'm gonna long this here, and you've lost your fucking mind at this point, right? And this is obviously like an exaggerated. I mean, I've exaggerated it, but it's not really exaggerated because I've seen so many people fucking do this, and it's because a simple issue like that, right? Is so you just started off with one loser, right? So you can just put one loss here. And we can see it's turned into, let's say, minus 5R, right? So one event caused another event, but in between that thing, there was like a multitude of steps that occurred in getting from here to here, right? It wasn't just this happened and then the next second this happened. There was a series of events which occurred in between, right? Series of events. So what does this mean? It means a lot of people are so focused on this endpoint here, which is I lost 5R on the day. Why did I lose 5R? And they'll try and like go through each individual trade and say, this trade was bad here. You know, I was being too fearful, or I was being too greedy here. Maybe I should have wide. That's not the fucking issue, right? The issue is this. Whatever happened here at the beginning, or maybe this first step that led to all of this. Because maybe naturally you're very good, right? Maybe when you have a very systemized approach to the market, 90% of the time you're taking profits at the right place, you're risking the right amount, you're not doing things you shouldn't do. But then 10% of the time you get caught in this loop, or not a loop, but these series of events which occur, and you go from something that is like within variance, within normal, right? 1, 2 losses, all of a sudden, a few minutes later you're minus, and this is being quite conservative here. Like, let's be real, people are like nuking like 20% of their account in about 15 minutes without even realizing what they're doing, right? And this is more exaggerated in terms of like more noob traders, but the same shit will occur with more experienced traders in the sense that instead of it being like huge knocks in there, like instead of it being like minus 20%, right? It might affect like a more experienced trader just by confidence, right? Because they've done something so well for so long, and they're starting to see some improvements in their journey. They're like, hey, I'm trading these ranges very well. I'm long in here, I'm TP in here, things are going well. But then you get something like this, right? And then maybe they only lose 2R on it, but they've completely nuked their confidence as to what they're doing because they have this system, right? This thing that they do, and 90% of the time they're in this, they're doing this, repeating this. But then sometimes shit happens, right? And they deviate away from it, and they just wreck themselves, and it hurts their confidence a lot. And then they're back to like over optimizing this. They're trying to find issues. They're trying to like just do so much shit that is unnecessary, right? another way this can like happen is, I don't know. I'm just taking an example from someone's story recently where they were in a trade, um, planned to short a level, didn't short the level because XYZ had higher targets along, right? This is fucking retarded on the level that like this should never occur, right? But that's a given. But if you go back, you'll this event that occurred is more likely because what? Probably a lack of confidence in their own system, right? Right? Like, why are you listening to someone else or care about what something else has to say? It's because you don't trust your system enough, right? And of course, you can try and find solutions for this. Like, why should I not listen to other people? Whereas the real problem that should be tackled is this: is how do I gain confidence in my system? And at the end of the day, this is just by experience. You can't shortcut. You can't shortcut. Sorry, confidence. It's just experience, right? It's just experience, and it's consistency and doing the same shit and knowing your system in and out, right? There's a really like famous. I don't know who the fuck said it, but consistency. What is it? Is that randomness kills consistency? And this thing here like manifests in so many ways in trading, right? Whether it's you're taking one type of setup, right? But then you deviate from this plan. You start thinking, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a setup that looks kind of similar, but not that similar. It didn't hit all my criteria, but I'm still going to take it. And then you start taking that. And what you had was a system that you're gaining confidence in, right? So your confidence was up in this, but you add another variable or you add another like thing to it, and now you're treating these as the same, and so your overall confidence goes down because this might give like, to keep it simple, we can just say this gives binary results, right? And that you're very very used to. You're used to these happening, and so for each of these binary results, you've like allocated like some type of trade management, right? You can say, hey, if I'm looking for a level to sweep and it sweeps and I get this type of reaction, right? I know what to do. However, if it gives this type of reaction and starts to die down, I know what to do because you've encountered this 100 times. You've encountered this 100 times. But what happens if you start taking a setup that does this and it hasn't struck the level yet, and you're like, fuck it, this looks good enough? It adds a different degree of randomness, right? Because you don't know exactly what's happening. You haven't seen this over and over and over again, and you don't have any like fixed solutions regarding this. And then this will affect this setup, and everything will get fucked, right? Let me just delete all this. So that's one thing. So the main thing is like the cause chain event, right? It's finding like the series of events that cause, and this could be emotion, right? Maybe you fucking woke up late, or you raged, maybe you stubbed your fucking toe, and you're like, fuck my life, I fucking hate this. Then you trade, then you lose a trade, right? Then you risk more on second trade, lose it, lower the time frame. Then you're scalping the fucking 1 second chart with your dick in your hand. You know, just long shot, long shot, long shot. You don't know what the fuck's happening. You just like you've been possessed by some demon, and by the time you come out of it, you know what I mean. You're just like about to kill yourself. But that's just kind of how it happens. Well, I guess like first off, like adding to this, in order to know it, you need data, right? That's the only way you can do it. Because our brains generally, they're very like, so the brain is very focused on loss aversion and recency bias, right? So let's say you lost a shit ton here, right? I don't know, for whatever reason. Your brain will be focused on this, and whatever mistake you made here, this will like etch into your mind. And this might not have been the bad play. This might have been a fine play. Out of 100 events, this might, whatever you did here might be the best solution 50% of the time, right? But because of some other factor, because it caused so much pain to you, because maybe you risked too much, whatever, you might be more focused on that, and you're like, hey, the last time I did this, I lost a shit ton of money, I don't want to replicate that. So that's loss aversion. Recency bias is just like whatever you do recently, your brain is more likely to just capture that and remember that, right? Maybe you think like, hey, oh my god, every time I've longed a fucking sweep, I've been wrecked, right? You longed this one, maybe you were targeting up here, you got wrecked. Maybe here you were targeting this, you got wrecked because you didn't reach your target. Maybe here you longed this, and then at this point you're like, I fucking hate sweeps, I'm not doing this again, right? Which is like a fair enough statement, but why? Because this is not true in all environments, right? Maybe you go back to like 2023 or like even a few months ago, or even less than a few months ago. You can probably find some PA in the last like month where long in sweeps would have like been very profitable. But it's about the market context, right? That's the underlying variable that's affecting your trading, right? There are some contexts which work better with certain types of setups, or certain types of setups work better in certain types of market context or regimes.